Hi, I'm Angling Times editor Richard Lee, and we're on the banks of the River Welland near Stamford for a bit of chub fishing. Steve normally fishes for sort of roach, bream, carp, match fishing styles really with a pole. And he wants to know a bit more about specimen fishing, is that right?
Yeah, I suppose where I'm going wrong is I'm used to be given a swim and I've got to make the most of that swim in 5 hours. So when I go specimen fishing, I've got a river like this. I haven't got a clue really what to look for to find a fish, so I'm hoping your knowledge is going to sort me out.
Well, we'll give it a whirl. Obviously we'll go through the tackle and the watercraft really, reading the river, trying to understand where the chub are going to lie. Right, ready for the challenge?
Go for it. Cool.
Okay Steve, on for the tackle. The first thing you'll notice with a specimen hunter's setup, certainly a stalking angler, is you don't need much gear. You don't want a box, you don't want big holdalls, mainly because you've got to be on the move all the time. And a lot of people take too much gear and they just can't be bothered to keep moving, trying new swims, and they end up just with a few fish. So hopefully, by travelling light, you can get around a lot of spots and catch plenty of chub. Really simple, just a bag with some hooks in. My hook choice is a B983 Camazan. And I carry them in 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Now these are perfect hook for chub. Nice and fine, still very strong, with a brilliant point on them. So when that chub sucks it in, it's straight in and connected. So we've got some hooks, and basically this is the other piece of kit. A box full of shot, big shot for paternosters, swivels, ledger beads, just bits and bobs really. If you condense that in, put it in your pocket or in your bag, and that's perfect. As regards to rod, well, this is a super specialist duo Drennan. Just got a range of tips. Pretty standard ledger rod really. It does also have an isotope in it for night fishing, and a reel well filled with 5-pound line, so you can just flick it out and it'll go anywhere you want.
Perfect.
Very important to fill it right to the edge, so your casting is very simple and accurate. And that's it, bait wise. Now, again, very, very simple. My choice today, some cheese paste. That we knocked up the other day, nice and soft. It won't impair the penetration of the hook when you cast out, you strike it off. We'll feed this in a few swims.
Right.
We've got some floater cake. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
It's just like bread basically, you make from a boiling mix, and you can crumble it up, put a tiny, it's like a float, put a tiny piece on the hook, and you can counterbalance that with cheese paste on top, and it will move around naturally in the flow. Handy little piece of kit that. We've got some liquidised bread. Now we can feed that. Rubber's probably a bit faster, it'll run away, so we might put it in a feeder. That will attract the fish in, draw the fish in. And a good old loaf of bread, white, and you can fish it as a flake or a crust.
Perfect.
So really quite a simple set of kit. And of course, finally, the scales for when we land the monster.
Tempting fate.
Yeah, it'd be a dream to catch a 5-pounder today, a specimen, but you never know. Conditions aren't perfect, far from. We've got a lot of snow melting in the river, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Excellent.
Okay, let's go for it.
Let's go.
Okay, right, we're by the river now. There's two of the most important things when chub fishing, for me anyway, is location and feeding. Obviously if you're chucking your bait in the wrong place, you're not going to get a bite, so you have to work out where those fish are going to lie, and then you've got to feed them up and get them confident, rather than just casting straight away willy-nilly and pretty much upsetting the shoal and ruining your fishing. So we come to this spot and this screams chub. We've got a lovely bend, sweeping round, and as it comes off the bend, the flow starts to steady. It looks like some deep water there, so all the natural food's going to funnel down through the narrow channel, will deposit itself in the deeper water here. The fish can move in and out of the flow, it's got some cover. Just perfect, just screams chub, and bends always hold fish. So, like I said, instead of casting straight out, we're going to feed the swim and build it up bit by bit. Now the conditions are awful, we've got a lot of cold water in the river, so I'm not going to put lots in. But we've got the cheese paste, I'm going to put little bits into the river, in the flow, and let it gently settle downstream. We'll probably do this 2 or 3 times, build the confidence, and then eventually, first cast, we should catch a fish. So I'll stand close to the water. Drop the little baits in. Just like mini boilies really, just roll it up. Drop them in, and now they'll be moving down the stream into the deeper water. The flow will let them collect in the natural holes and depressions in the lake riverbed. Those chub should really come on the feed. Probably about 5 or 6 balls, little balls at the start. Leave it 10 minutes, come back, a couple more, and then eventually we'll cast in. Okay Steve, you're in position, swim 1. We've checked the weight of the ledger and it just bounces through. We have to add another swan shot. And your first cast wants to be short in the swim. If you cast long, you'll go over chub or potentially go over chub. So your first cast just short, your second cast a bit further, and so on till you probe the swim.
Whilst we just moved to our second swim, we fished the first swim for about 20 minutes, never had a touch. And as the rain's falling, the river's getting into a right state. There's loads of logs coming down, you can probably see. So it's not looking good, to be honest. So we're going to quickly fish the swims. We're going to sort of have 10-15 minutes on each, see if we can get a chub. But it's not looking good, I'm afraid.
Okay, the conditions are dire. The snow water's melted, the rain's coming down, and trees, well, it's just horrendous. But we're going to have to change attack, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Now, what we've got here behind me is this nice swim, big sweeping bend, loads of trees on the inside and a slack. Fish will always live in a swim like this. So we're going to sit there, ledger a worm this time. Now for some reason worms, lobworms, produce when it's coloured really quite nasty. Over the years I've caught lots of chub like that. So we're going to nail a worm right into the snag and sit there and wait for it to wrap round. Here we go.
Well, so we've tried 2 swims, not had a touch. Within literally a minute of it going in, big lobworm right under this bush and about straight away, stuck into it and just held on basically. There's no way you can give any line, and I've come back with nothing. So Chub 1, Steve 0, but I'm sure those fish are still there, so we're going to have another go and see if we can level the score.
Okay, so Steve's just been caroonered by that chub, got no line left on our rig, so it's time to re-rig, and it's a good opportunity to show you this little handy chub setup. We've got a main line which is about 5 pounds, 5 or 6 pounds, and then I've got a short length, thick 10-12 pound line, and that's like a little boom. And we put them both through one of these ledger stops that you can get in the tackle shop. These ones are Drennan ones. And we slide them both onto there. Now that gives you, sort this out, you can see, got the main line, you can slide up and down, you can put a hook on that, the main line, and this little boom here is where we put the shot. So all you got to do is put your shot on that, slide it up and down, and you can just alter your rig completely. So if the fish are nervous and you want a long tail, or you want to pop baits up, you can slide it right down and have it short. So we have the shot on that. Look on this end. One little thing you have to do before you use this rig is to make sure you put a knot in the thick line. Now what does that do? Well, it's a knot there. It means you can slide the ledger stop against it, like so it won't sort of fall off when you're playing the fish. So the line's sort of jammed on there as a boom, and we've got the main line coming off. Simple rig, but very, very effective. Okay, right, still in the same swim. Steve missed a couple of chances now, and they're starting to wise up on the worm. Now we could leave the swim for half an hour rested, but the river's rising, so I don't really want to do that because it's probably going to be unfishable soon. So we're going to try and sort of switch them on, give them a different bait, a different attack. So what we're going to do is, I've shown you the rig, I'm going to slide it down so we get a tiny little hook length. So it is a tiny little hook length. And with that, we're going to put on a piece of crust. I'm just going to pop it through. Very simple again. Chub fishing is incredibly simple. That's all it is. Now what that will do is when that gets cast into the swim, that'll stay on the bottom, crust will pop up, waving the flow, and it'll probably trigger a chub that's started to be wary to have a go. That's the theory anyway. Alright Steve, it's your turn. Give it a go. Okay Steve, we've missed some chances today, and it's getting worse and worse. I'm not sure you're going to get one.